So, the question is life absurd without God? Or, get it your way round, is life without God absurd? Yes. Can I go home now? It is. And I also contend that it's not only absurd without God, but it's more absurd with God. And this question makes two assumptions. First of all, it assumes that there is a God. And secondly, it assumes that life shouldn't be absurd. Well, I want to examine those two propositions. The questioner obviously thinks that life shouldn't be absurd. And I'd like to ask why. Why do they think that? To my mind, that's the real question. So let's take a look at absurd, first of all, and find out what it means. Well, the dictionary gives wildly unreasonable, illogical, or inappropriate. Here's an example. The allegations are patently absurd. I say that's a judgment call, an opinion. For example, you and I might agree that that statement is absurd, wouldn't we? Yes? What about this one then? Is that so absurd? You might think that's absurd. I might think that's absurd. Somebody else might not. It really depends on whether the homework belongs to you or not. So it's a matter of opinion. Now, I would like to say that some of this comes from the fact of human egocentrism. We all live inside our heads looking out. So, naturally, we think that we're at the center of everything. We used to think that our planet was at the center of the solar system and that the sun went round it. We now know that's not true. And we used to think that God made the universe for us. There is no evidence for this, and it's a very narcissistic viewpoint. Let's examine that claim. Did God make the universe for us? Is that a reasonable claim, or is that an absurd statement? Well, we now know that the universe began around 13.8 billion years ago. We used to say it was 13.7. This is, of course, an estimate, and recently the estimate was improved, and we now say that it's 13.8. But mankind only arrived on Earth about 200,000 years ago. So, a reasonable question is, what happened in between? Why the gap of 13 billion, 799 million, 800,000 years? Isn't that absurd? So, as an ex-science teacher, I want to go into a bit of scientific reality here. Scientific observed facts, repeatedly, shareably observed facts, and explanations, theories, which are mental models based on those facts. So, we know that Earth actually orbits the sun. And we know that the sun is a star. And it's a star in a galaxy that we call the Milky Way. You used to be able to look up and see it. It's a sort of whitish smudge across the sky. But now we pollute the sky, the night sky, with so much light, it's become invisible to us in Manchester. Now there's about 100 billion, some people say about 200 billion other suns in the Milky Way. And there's about 100 billion, some people say 200 billion other Milky Ways, galaxies like the Milky Way. And on average, thanks to the Hubble telescope, we found out that stars, other suns, also have planets orbiting them. In fact, on average, a star has about 7 planets. So, Earth is insignificant. It's only one planet out of about, now I can't say that number, it's even unimaginable. Let's try to imagine it. We've gone past the millions. The next 3 noughts will be billions. Then we go to trillions. I don't know, quadrillions, pentillions. I'm making it up now. Sesquillions. What is that number? Let's just try to imagine it. I want you to pretend that you can count up to 1 million. Now, to make this doable, I'm going to suggest that you count at the rate of 1 every second. Okay? Now that's slow at the beginning. 1, 2, 3. But when you're getting close to 1 million, it takes you 999,999, 3 seconds just to say that one number. So let's average it. Let's say we're going to count throughout at the rate of 1 a second, and we're not going to go to sleep. But we are going to stop to eat and go to the toilet. How long do you think it would take to get up to 1 million? Any guesses?
2 weeks.
Somebody?
A few days.
How many days, sorry? A few days. Right? Okay, that's one guess. Any other guesses?
21 years.
31 years, that's a very big guess. Any more? I'll take one more guess. Yes?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Spot on. You're a mathematician, eh? Well done. Yeah, it would take us about 2 weeks, not sleeping, but eating and pooing. Okay? That's just the 1 million. We've only gone up to the 6th nought from the right. If you want to count to 1 billion, that's 1,000 of those 2 weeks. So that's 40 years. Counting at that rate, not sleeping. Okay? So imagine how long it's going to take to count up that number. The point I'm making is Earth is really, really insignificant. And meanwhile, on Earth, each one of us is just a single individual out of a total population of humans of 7.4 billion. It's probably more than that now, that's an old figure. So, however you look at it, numerically, we are monumentally insignificant, whether you compare us to the population or to the universe. Now let's take a look at our lives. Average human life is 79 years. Let's compare that to the life of the Earth. The Earth has been around for about 4.5 billion years. The universe, as we said earlier, has been around for about 13.8 billion years. So however you look at it, whether in terms of time, duration, durability, or in terms of number, we are monumentally insignificant. We are ants. But, as Imran was explaining earlier, we're ants with delusions. We have delusions of our importance. We think there's some ultimate purpose for us. That's very conceited. So, are you important? Am I important? Now, are our opinions important? No. So, what actually is absurd? Thinking that we are important. That's absurd. It's a delusion of grandeur.